So what could be some of the motivations of an absentee owner? Well, they could have had the property for a really long time, and now that property, needs maintenance just like anything else, right? When you have your car over time, even if you bought your car brand new, you bought a brand new car, over the years, you have wear and tear, and there's repair bills, all kinds of stuff, right? So that's the same thing that happens to real estate. So absentee owners, over a certain period of time, they are going to have to invest in that property and continue to maintain it. So some absentee owners would, maybe they come to a point where they're like, you know what, I don't want to fix anything anymore. I don't want to fix anything anymore with this property. I don't want to put any more money into it. And they're like, okay, their motivation to sell that property increases because they do not want to fix it anymore. So a subcategory of absentee owners would be like landlords, right? So a landlord that has had property for a long time and maybe even successfully has had really good tenants, but maybe they are aging and they're like, you know what, I just really just don't want to deal with this property anymore. I want to cash out, right? So they would be like a subcategory of absentee owners. Another subcategory of absentee owners could be someone who inherited a property. All right. So someone who may have had a family member that passed away, and now they have, been given this property. They don't live in it or intend to live in it at any time. And now they have to manage it from a distance. Well, their motivation could be really high as well as absentee owners, because now they have a property that they have to take care of while they live someplace else, right? So you could understand why real estate investors love talking to absentee owners, because they kind of have a built-in motivation, right? Sometimes it may not be a high motivation, which is okay, but a lot of times, sometimes it is very high, just based off of the condition of the property, the age of the property, and if that owner, the absentee owner, wants to cash out at that time. You may catch them at a really good time. So real estate investors send these letters, they send postcards, they send candygrams, they do all kinds of stuff to them. One time I did a marketing campaign where I took a treat bag, a candy bag that you get from the dollar store, for a party bag. And I put my flyer, I put candy, I put my letter flyer, and I put candy in it. And I twisted it up with the little twisty thing, and then I just threw it at people's doors. Why would I do that? Well, because, you send them letters and they get letters all the time from everybody. So you're trying to be a little bit different and trying to break through everybody else's letter and have them open yours. So somebody sees that at their front door or at their garage, and they're like, what the? They're going to pick it up, right? So they pick it up and then they call you I got your candy. And I'd be like, yeah, happy Halloween, whatever. So it works out that way. So they're like, are you the person that left the candy at my door? And I'd be like, yeah, that was me. How are you? I wanted to talk to you about your house. So great tip, you guys. All right. So if you want to do that strategy, I think you should. Anyway, so we're talking about absentee owners. We know what they are. We've already defined it. We know who they are. So now how do we get the list for them? Well, there's a couple different ways that you can do it. And you can do it the free way, which is fine. What you have to take into consideration is going to be your time, right? Because you're going to have to sit and you're going to have to create the list yourself, right? But it don't cost you any money to do it. It just costs you some time, which essentially sometimes is your money, because you could be doing something else more profitable in your business. So one of the easiest ways for you to get a list of absentee owners is to go on your county's property appraiser website. All right. So the property appraiser website, you can be able to search by owners. You can search by subdivisions, right? So you can go a geographical area where you can search by neighborhoods, you can search by subdivisions, and you can actually download a list of all owners in your county that have property that have a different address than where they actually live. And you're like, OMG, Jackie, does that really exist? And the answer is absolutely yes. All right. So that's any real property in public records is available for viewing, right? That information is, everybody can access it. So you can look up where anybody lives. If their name is registered in the county, you can find them, all right? So it's not a secret anywhere. So I just want you to know that. So your property appraisal website, you can find it there, and you can look that up. In some states, it's not called property appraiser. It may be the property assessor's office or something like that, but you can Google it in your county, USA. I mean, it's not really hard to or difficult to find. You just have to identify what county you're looking for, find their property site where they actually put all the real property information, and then you can go there and you can do like a search. And most websites, most public records websites, they will allow you to like export that information to like an Excel spreadsheet. And if they don't allow you to export that information, and when I say export, I mean like download, right? Download the list of who you're looking for, then you just gonna have to create it yourself. So you got an Excel spreadsheet open or some kind of like notepad or something, and then basically you just copy and paste an address, name, you know, of the owner, all that kind of stuff. You just copy and pasting, right? You can probably get one of your kids to do it for you. The other way that you can do it is you can actually go down to your county's office. That's pretty cool, right? You can go down to your county's clerk of courts, or you can go down, you know, property appraisers, you can go down to the courthouse. You can really find this information. Everyone that works in the government office is a public servant, right? So they are there to provide you with information. Contrary to popular belief, they're supposed to be helpful. So you can go to your property appraiser's office and you can ask them, hey, I'm looking for a list of owners where their addresses is not the same as their like primary residence, like where they live. And I want the list of everyone in the county. Now, they may give it to you, obviously, but they may charge you a small fee. They may charge you a couple of cents per like lead, but at least it saves you the time of having to like sit down and like do it yourself, right? They may even like burn the information and put it like, save it like on a disc for you, like a CD-ROM, and then they'll give it to you that way. Or they'll give you like the spreadsheet that you wanted, and then now you can actually like, you know, have it emailed to you or something like that. But it's a small fee. Some counties charge a fee just to do that, which is fine. But it's one of the most cost efficient ways in actually for you to get an absentee owner. Now, here's the difference though. When you get it from the county, it's definitely going to be absentee owners because of the address differences that we're talking about. But the one thing that the county will not be able to give you is like who has like the most equity in the property. They won't be able to give you that because they don't really track that. You know, they don't track those kind of things. They just track like sales of the property. They track like the taxes, is the taxes paid on that property, and they track like who the owner is, as well as like where the address is for that owner and stuff like that. That's what they track. They don't track any of the equity or loan information or anything like that. They just track like what the date and the property was purchased, as well as how much it was purchased for and who sold what to who. So you can get all of that information from your county. So that's pretty dope. So the next place that you can get your list from, your real estate investor, and you're really trying to, you know, get up and running in a cost efficient way for your marketing. Another place that you can get that from is like title companies, right? So why would a title company give you that information? Like, why would they download it and share that with you? Well, they want business, right? So they're going to share that information with you because their hope is that you would at least refer business back to them. They want you to close business with them. So they're going to help you get deals. Now, of course, you're going to have to establish a relationship with them, you know, call, find out who's the person, who's the marketing person, who's who, what roles do people play, and then you actually develop a relationship with them, let them know what you want, and let them know that you would like to have an exclusive relationship with them for your title company for all of your deals. And then you ask them if they can help you by providing you with a list of absentee owners in, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you know, zip code or something like that, like whatever area, zip code, town, county, that you're looking for. You just give them the criteria and then they can help you with that. All right. So that's a great way as well. Now, the other place that you can find this information to is the multiple listing services. So if you have friends friends that are real estate agents, and they're looking to, you know, get new deals as well, you can actually collaborate with them. You said, hey, I tell you what, you help me get an absentee owner list. I will do all the marketing and I will, you know, send out the letters. That's on my dime. When I get a property on the contract, right? Perhaps you can help me or something like that, you know, find buyers or do something. And then I can help you, you know, by including you in the opportunity itself, including you in the deal. So if you have friends that are real estate agents and, you know, they're not really doing anything, this is a great way to get them employed and get them starting to make some money with you, and get them to download the list on the MLS as well too. There's a lot of information on the MLS, and if you're unlicensed, then obviously you don't have access to the MLS. But if you have friends that are licensed real estate agents, then you can have them help you get that list as well too. So these are all the free ways I'm telling you how to get it, okay? So now let's talk about the paid ways, because your time is valuable and your time is really, really important. So if I am a real estate investor and you're wanting to be a real estate investor and the guy next door is, you know, trying to be a real estate investor, like we all have the same kind of like intention, right? So time is definitely important. You want to be able to get the information that you need really, really quickly, really, really fast, and be able to expedite your marketing campaign so that you can get people to, you know, respond back to you. You can start getting leads and phone calls and people calling you, right? So some of the paid ways for you to actually get the leads, one of those ways would be a source called Melissa Data. All right, so you got Melissa Data. That's another database website that pulls information from the public records, and they compile all that information in kind of like a one-stop shop. And then you can like add additional criteria to your search, and you can narrow down your list to not just like every absentee owner, but now you're searching for absentee owners that live in, you know, out of state, another state, and they are 65 years old, right? So they're nearing retirement age, right? So you're like up in the motivation. So that's why I like these other sites, the paid sites, because you can really narrow down in your motivation and like apply different criteria, like layer it so that you can actually be more successful and have a higher probability of that person being in a situation where they need to sell their property. They're already like considering it just based off of all of the different layers of criteria that you would put on there, right? So that's Melissa Data. That's one. Another place is ListSource, right? So ListSource is another place that you can go. And there's many. I don't want you to think that these are like all the sites or whatever, but this is the ones that are most popular, okay? So ListSource is another great site for you to use as well too. It's a little bit pricey. You're paying like per lead, but I mean, if you narrow it down to specific criteria, you can get it as low as like, you know, 3 cents per lead. So it doesn't have to be something like really, really expensive for you to, you know, acquire and get that information, but you can get it narrowed down to like really specific information that you're looking for. So the more targeted your list, sometimes you get like better responses than just kind of like sending a blanket marketing campaign to like all absentee owners, right? You're looking for the people within that population that have like the highest probability of having a motivation to sell. Another place, which is another like software that I use as well too, and it's a membership base, is called PropStream, and that website is PropStream.com. I use them because I love their interface, and pulling the data, putting the information is really, really easy to do. And it also allows me to search like other states as well too across the country. So if you're ever interested in doing like virtual wholesaling or doing like lease options or any types of like other different strategies, maybe you're looking for like subject to deals or anything like that, then you want to use like a site that's going to be able to allow you to put in all the different criteria that you need, so you can like really narrow down on the list that has the highest probability of having a high motivation and a high need to sell. All right. So Melissa Data, right? We're going to go over the free ones real quick, just do a quick summary. So you can go to your property appraiser's website and download it. Most property appraisers is public record, so you can actually download all of that information for free. You can go to the county themselves, like the county's office, and you can ask them if they can download it for you and save it on a disk or send it to you in like a, a zip file and email it to you or something like that. Because usually it's going to be like a really, large list of information. So, that data, you want it to be condensed in a certain way so that you can actually sort through it. All right. The next place that you can go is the MLS, right? So you got friends that are real estate agents or licensed realtors. You can get them to get that information for you off of the MLS. That's another place that you can go. And then you can also develop relationships with title companies and have them pull that list for you, absentee owner list, with the, intent, right? The goodwill, right? It's a goodwill that you are going to have a relationship with them. You're going to refer business to them and close deals. And you're going to close your deals and you're going to refer other investors and somebody else to close deals with them. So that's the reason why they would be motivated to help you. But you still got to develop that relationship first. And then the paid ones, the paid sites would be like Melissa Data, ListSource.com, as well as PropertyStream or PropStream.com, right? So PropStream, I know, has a 7-day free trial, which is pretty dope. So you can go in, you can play with it, you can download. And then what I love about PropStream is that you can download up to like 10,000. It's a lot, isn't it? Right? You can download up to 10,000 leads per month, right? So that's like amazing, especially if you're starting out. Dude, that's like your whole list for like a whole year. That's a lot of people to talk to. So you can download up to like 10,000 per month. And if you want to go higher than that, then you can always like increase like your membership or stuff like that. But just to start out, that's pretty amazing. I don't know about you, but I think that's pretty dope. So a 7-day free trial, and I'll put a link in the chat as well too if you want to sign up for that 7-day free trial. Fair enough. All right, cool. So now that we got that out the way, so one thing that you want to keep in mind is that your time is valuable. So even if you're going to do it the free way, at low cost, no cost to you, where you're going to sit and you're going to compile this information for yourself, you have to think about, okay, if I'm sitting in front of the computer, copying and pasting and clicking, then the one thing that I'm not doing is talking to those owners. And that's where your money is. Your money is your high dollar tasks. So as a business owner, you always want to be having some kind of interface with your clients, your prospects, your leads, your customers, because that's where your money is, right? So all that administrative stuff, you can either do it automatedly, you can get somebody else to do it, like an assistant or a virtual assistant or something like that. Or, you could just pay a small membership fee and just have that information already set and ready and good to go so that you can just focus on the activity that's going to bring you the most money the quickest. Fair enough, which is actually building relationships with your customers, right? And in the realm of real estate, it would be making offers, talking to people and making offers every single day, whether they say yes, they say no, making offers, following up, and developing those relationships with your potential, sellers, right? So the criteria for like the different types of strategies within the absentee owner population is very specific, right? So if you are going to do, and I have my notes here, so forgive me. So if you're going to do like, you're going to take over somebody else's mortgage or do like a lease option where like you control the property without really owning it. And in my courses and my coaching program, I teach my students how to understand like what these different strategies are, the nuances of them, and how to use them to actually make money. So, if you're interested in that, you can always contact me and I can share information about my coaching program. But just for the purposes of this video here, we're just going to, talk about the strategies in general, and then I'll tell you how they relate to your absentee owners. All right. So if you are downloading an absentee owner list and you're going to use one of the paid sites that's going to allow you to add additional criteria, you would want to do, for subject to and lease options, you would want to get properties that have like a loan to value of 80 to 95%, right? A loan to value of 80 to 95%. And you're like, well, Jackie, what in the world does that mean? I'll tell you right now. So what that means is that individual, that absentee owner, doesn't really have like a lot of equity in their property. All right. When they bought the property, they may have put like maybe, 10% down, 5% down, anything, anywhere from like 20% down or less. All right. So that means that they financed a lot, right? They financed a lot. They financed the majority of their purchase when they were purchasing that property, right? So when you're dealing with subject to, meaning taking over the payments of the existing mortgage on that property, or you're doing an option agreement, which is like controlling the property without really buying it, but you control it with an option. I'm trying to like not make it too complicated, but you're controlling the property with the intent to assign your option to somebody else. That's how you're going to get paid on that one, right? So the best population to talk to on your absentee owner would be people who don't have a lot of equity in their property, because that's a high motivation. If they want to sell their house, they actually would probably have to bring money to closing to sell their own house because they don't have enough equity. So they don't have enough like equity in their property to even hire a real estate agent to sell their property for them. Because how the real estate agent gets their commission is usually, from the sale of the property, that equity, that difference is paid out to them in their commission. And then the owner, after all of their fees and, all of their responsibilities in the deal, they get the difference. That's their profit. They just get the difference. So if there's not enough equity to do all of those things in a traditional sale, then the motivation is kind of high. How am I going to sell my house, right? So the subject to and the lease option strategies are really great for absentee owners that have a high equity, low equity in their property. So they have a high loan to value. All right. I hope I wasn't confusing anybody. So if you're planning on flipping or wholesaling, you want absentee owners that have a lot of equity. Why? Because you're buying with cash and your intent is to take advantage of that equity in that deal. So you can't buy properties that have high loan to value if your goal is to renovate it and then like put that house back on the market, like, right? So if you bought a property that has like, they owe 90%, of what they borrowed, then there's no wiggle room in that. So if you're a wholesaler or a rehabber, someone who buys, fix, and flips, then you're definitely going to want to target absentee owners that have high equity in there, right? So you're going to do anywhere from like 30% to 100% equity. So people that are free and clear properties, they don't have a loan at all. You definitely want to talk to them, because when people own their properties like outright, then they have you as the investor have a lot more options that you can structure an opportunity to offer them to buy their house, especially when they own it free and clear. So that's the best ones, when they own it free and clear. The second best is basically them just having enough equity or enough room in that deal so that you can structure it in a certain way to create a win-win situation for not only for them, but for yourself and everybody that's involved in the deal. So when you're doing subject to and lease option, you're looking for absentee owners that have high loans to value. They don't have a lot of equity, so that's low equity. And when you're doing wholesaling, as well as your intent is to be like a rehabber, buy, fix, and sell, you need deals that have a lot of equity. So those are like the additional criteria that you're going to have to search for your absentee owners. And then if you're planning on doing like short sales or something like that, they're not that common anymore. But short sales, basically that means that the person owes more, right, on their property. They owe more than it's worth, right? So basically people that have like over 100%, they over 100% loan to value. They owe more than their house is worth. They are great candidates for short sales, right? So what is a short sale? Basically, that's like, it's a negotiation between the bank that financed that property, and you're saying, hey, this property is not worth what it's owed on it, will you take a discount? Right? Will you take less than what you loaned to this borrower so that we can actually get this property sold? Some banks will say yes, they'll do that, short sales. Some will say no. And they're like, no, you owe me this amount of money and I don't care if your property is not worth that much, you know, so it just depends. So if whatever strategy, real estate investing strategy you're trying to do, you want to be mindful of adding the required criteria so that you actually get the type of list that you're looking for. So if you're a wholesaler, it doesn't make any sense for you to market to absentee owners that don't have any equity, right? That doesn't make any sense. You need to market to absentee owners that have a lot of equity in their property, because your cash offer is usually really, really conservative. It's normally really low. So you need to have a lot of equity in there to justify that your offer, right? All right, so that's how it is with absentee owners. Let's see, I got quite a few questions in here. Let's go in here. Oh, Ophelia says inherited properties. Yes, inherited properties. That's people who passed away. I mentioned that a little bit earlier. People who have passed away, and then their family member, whether it's a family member, a friend, or even a foe, it doesn't really matter. They inherited that person's property, right? So they could be considered having high motivation and an absentee owner, because remember, our definition of absentee is that they do not occupy the property and they don't directly manage it, right? So inherited properties is definitely a good candidate for marketing too. Let's see if I got any other one. Busy backboard. Oh, I got a busy backboard. I sure do. It is my my vision board. So that was from Kevin. So Kevin says I have a busy backboard. You're probably right, Kevin. But these are the things I have, like positive affirmations all around my office. I have my goals. I have stuff written on my wall, on my blackboard, on my whiteboard. It's everywhere. It's stickies, all kinds of stuff everywhere that continues to remind me that the world is good. All right. There's opportunity. There's an abundance of opportunity out there. Do not let anybody tell you that there's nothing out there for you, that you can't make money. All right. Is there work involved in making money? Yes, there is. You have to learn the skills required that allows you to make money. So all this stuff back here is a reminder to me that I need to keep working. All right. So thank you, Kevin, for pointing that out. All right. So next is, let's see what's happening here. Number one source for me is the title company. So John Taylor out in Cali, I think that's where John is. He says that he gets his absentee owner list from his title company, the company that he uses to close all of his deals, right? They handle all of the paperwork. They do all the title insurance and all that cool stuff. And I'm sure, John, that you had developed a relationship with them. So they're happy to do that for you because you're bringing them opportunity and doing business with them. So that's super dope. Let's see who else is out there. Corrales says, how does the amount of equity affect the maximum allowable offer formula? That's a great question. I wasn't planning on getting into that right now because we're just talking about absentee owners. But what Corrales is asking about the maximum allowable offer, when that's a formula that investors use, I use it, like everyone use it. You totally got to like master this formula. And it's not really that hard to master. You just have to know all of the variables, right? So how do you get your maximum allowable offer? And that's exactly what it sounds like. It's the offer that you basically determine that you can't go over, the dollar amount that you can't go over without risking offering too much. So you want to find out what's your maximum offer, so that when you're talking to owners, you don't go over that amount, so that you don't really like miscalculate your deal, basically, like your profit as well as how much money you're going to make. So the amount of equity is important. You really wouldn't be calculating equity, Corrales, just so we're clear. What you need to find out for the maximum allowable formula to actually work for you is what the property would be worth after it's already fixed up. And that's called the after repair value. So the ARV. So once you determine what the after repair value is, and the way how you would find that is just comparing what houses sold in that neighborhood that is similar to the house that you're looking at, considering making an offer on. And there's some additional stuff that you gotta, put into that criteria for your search, which means that you want to look at properties that are similar, right? So if you're considering to make an offer on a 3-bedroom, that you only want to look at 3 bedrooms. If it only has 2 bathrooms and you only want to look at 2 bathrooms, if it has 1,500 square feet, right, how big it is, then you only want to look at houses that are 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 1,500 square feet. And you also only want to look at 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 1,500 square feet that are, less than 1 mile away from the property that you're considering buying, right? So all of those things matter. In addition, the last criteria for looking for your ARV is going to be time bound, right? So you want to look for the most recent sales. I usually normally put my recent sales anywhere from the last 3 to 4 months in time. So the last 3 to 4 months in history. So it's October right now. So really, I'm looking at houses that sold like from June to present. Hopefully that makes sense. So when you're looking at your ARV for your maximum allowable offer formula, the after repair value, you're looking at the property, you're comparing apples to apples. They got to be, like properties. And you're looking at most recent sales in the last, 4 to 5 months max. Some people go out to 6 months, just depending on what they're, trying to do in their analysis. And then you're also looking at anywhere from 1 mile or less in a geographical area surrounding that house. All right. So once you find your ARV, now you are going to multiply that number. So say the house after it's all repaired and fixed up is about, I don't know, easy math. It's about $100,000, right? So the house is worth $100,000 after it's already fixed up, right? So that's the ARV, the after repair value, right? You did your research and you're like, man, this house is only worth $100,000 even after it's already fixed up. You're like, okay, that's what prices, that's what houses are selling for in that neighborhood. Fine, fair enough. So you take your after repair value and then you multiply it by anywhere from 65% to 70%. All right. And that percentage is going to be based off of like your norm for your market, right? So in your market USA, meaning your neighborhood, your city, your town, your county USA, there's an average that, you can sell for. So here in Orlando, I would probably use somewhere around like maybe 68 to 70%. So let's just use 70% as easy math. So $100,000 times 70% is $70,000. Woohoo! Easy math. I love easy math. And then in your maximum allowable formula, the next step in that formula is to subtract the total amount of repairs that property needs, right? In order for it to be worth $100,000, right? So basically all of the repairs that property would need in order for it to get to that $100,000 mark, right? So there may be $20,000 in repairs that are required. So remember, our number so far is $70,000, right? So we took $100,000, we multiplied it by 70%. Now we have $70,000. Now we are going to subtract the repairs, and that's an additional $20,000. So now we're down to $50,000. Okay, we're getting somewhere now, right? So we're decreasing, we're going backwards. So now in your maximum allowable formula, you're down to $50,000. Well, you need to get paid, right? As the wholesaler, the investor. So if you're wholesaling this property, this is the time that you would minus or subtract what your assignment fee is going to be, how much you want to make out of the deal. So maybe you want to make, $6,000. So $50,000 minus $6,000 is what? 50. Oh Lord, I should have used 5. All right, somebody do the math for me because I don't do math. I do calculator anyway. So $50,000 minus $6,000 is, what is that? 44. All right. So we're at 44,000. So 44,000 plus or minus would be what your maximum allowable offer would be. All right. So I'm being silly. I do math all the time, but 44,000 would be your maximum allowable offer. So you can see why we don't really take equity into consideration when we're doing that formula, Claralis. It actually is the ARV, the after repair value, multiplied by the percentage, which is the norm for your area. And then you're going to subtract your repairs, the total amount of your repairs, the sum of the repairs. And then you're also going to subtract how much money you want to make, right? So that's just easy math right there. I hope that answers your question. All right. So the next question here is, let's see. Somebody else says something. Oh, they're just saying hi. All right. Well, hi. All right. So let's see what's happening in Instagram land here. Let me see. I have some people. I don't see anybody asking any questions on Instagram, but I am going to wave back to them and thank everyone for joining onto the call. And I just want to let you guys know that I have a 6-week web class coming up called Wholesale Rockstar Secrets, right? It's really, really awesome. It's 6 whole weeks of me teaching you the wholesale real estate strategy. It starts October 30th, and so that's Tuesday, October 30th, in a private, exclusive Facebook group. And I'll be sharing my screen, exposing all of the strategy, all of the tools, everything that I use in my business so that you can be successful. It's valued at over $3,000. It's awesome, awesome course. And guess what? I have an early bird special right now for a limited time for only $97. So we've already have a lot of people, a massive amount of people has already signed up. It'll be live interaction with me. So very similar to me talking to you right now, and I'm answering questions like this. That's exactly how the training will be structured. You'll get all of your most burning, desired questions answered in this training. So if you ever wanted to start learning about real estate investing, how to get started without using your cash or your credit or anything like that, I'm teaching the wholesale strategy from the bottom up, from the inside out, only $97. I intentionally discounted it. I give a lot of information, a lot of meat, right? So I don't, I give a lot of content, a lot of relevant information, and that's on purpose. I mean, even my colleagues in the industry right now in real estate are like, gosh, Jackie, like you just say so much. And I'm like, I do. It's intentional because I want people to win, right? I want to win. That's why I got all these busy boards behind me, because I want to win. And I want you to win as well. That same inspiration and dedication and intentional actionable plan that I have for myself, I want to teach it to you in a really easy, digestible way for the real estate course. And it starts October 30th. It's only $97. I mean, it just can't get any lower than that. I already give you a lot for free. Like I gave you a whole class tonight, for absolutely just sitting here and just watching and sharing. So you can imagine what the class would be like when you actually invest in your education with me. So I'm going to make sure that link is included here. And I encourage you to sign up if you are interested in learning. And even if you are, who is this class for? It's for beginners. It's for people who, may have heard of the wholesaling strategy, but are kind of not sure, of how to put the pieces together. Corrales, she asked a quick question there. So I'm sure she's heard of the maximum allowable offer before because she asked the question, right? So she knew the term, but sometimes just knowing the information, you don't really know how to like put all the pieces together. That's if that's you, then you need this course. This is exactly where, I break it down. How does A connect to B, from B to connect to C, all the way down to C? How do you make this like a viable business opportunity for yourself? And how do you automate it? How do you find sellers? How do you find buyers? How do you find all these different moving parts? How do you talk to title companies, develop a relationship with them so that they can like work with you and help you? John, he mentioned earlier that he gets his list from the title company. I mean, I'm pretty sure that saves him a lot of valuable time right there. It's a win-win relationship. So that's pretty cool. I'm in. Oh, Shar says she's in. Join, sign me up. Money's in the bag. That's what's up, Shar. Hurry up and find them. That's Melissa. Shout out to Melissa in California. How are you? So I'm sure she's probably referring to hurry up and find the absentee owners, right? So Melissa, she's an awesome, experienced real estate investor out of California, and she's amazing as well too. So thank you, Melissa, for joining in on this live. We were talking about absentee owners, how to find them, as well as the different resources that can be used to find them, right? Whether it's free, right, which is probably going to take up some of your time and effort, or you can pay a small nominal fee, right, to have another company create that list for you to save you some time so that you can just focus on how you're going to contact the owners and how you're going to set up like your marketing plan. So I highly, highly, highly recommend that too. And I highly recommend PropStream because they give a 7-day free trial where you can just like download the information and just use it that way. So that's pretty dope. You could definitely check them out too. I'll make sure I put the link to that in here. And I also gave you the tips and the criteria for best case scenario for the different types of real estate strategies. So again, if you are subject to a lease option, you're looking for properties that have low equity or high loan to value. All right, we talked about that. And if you're a house flip or a wholesaler, you're looking for properties that actually have high equity. All right, so that's the difference between the two. And if you're looking for short sale leads, then you also need to look for properties that have very, very high loan to value that exceeds 100%. So that owner owes more on their property than actually is worth. So I hope that's been really, really helpful. Thank you guys for watching. You guys are awesome. And I will talk to you guys soon. All right, bye. Talk to you guys soon. Thank you.